I lost over 50 pounds in 5 months. In this video, guys, I'm going to be breaking down and sharing with you guys some secrets and tips on how I was able to lose over 50 pounds in 5 months. This definitely could have been achieved in I would say 3 to 4 months, but because of me, this was my first time ever really locking in on my fitness journey. There was a lot of trial and errors, so I want to share with you guys at least 8 key main takeaways and key points that I was able to learn and really hone in on during my fitness journey to really lock in and really see some actual visible results. So as you guys can see, this is my current transformation back. This is where I started in February. The second month of the new year is when I started to take my fitness journey super serious. So that was me back in February 2025. I was over 270 pounds. And now as of today, as I'm recording this video, which is July 15th, I'm currently sitting at 227. My main goal is to lose about like 15 more pounds. So my main overall goal is to get to like 210, maybe 205 if I'm really like feeling myself. But overall, this is going to be a breakdown of how I was able to lose over 50 pounds in 5 months. And hopefully you can definitely take away something from this video. So yeah, I really highly suggest if you're super new to your fitness journey, or if you're kind of experienced, like I would say if you're in your fitness journey for like 2-3 months, and maybe you're at like a beginner plateau, and you really want to know how to really lock in on your fitness and really see visible results and like see physical changes, not only in the scale but also physically, I definitely recommend you stick through this whole entire video, because I'll be breaking down and giving you at least 8 main key pillar points that was able to help me personally lose fat. And I can tell you, almost guarantee you that if you were to take away 1 to 2 of these points that I'm going to go over in this video, you as well should be able to lose weight. I can't lie to you, because what I'm going to be explaining to you guys is something that took me a while to learn. A little bit of a background story and a little bit of my upbringing. For me, I was always a bigger guy. Ever since I was a kid, I never was skinny, never was like, I was always big. I was always on the bigger side. I was never genetically gifted. As you guys can see, this was me when I was like 17, 18 years old. I was never somebody who was good at sports. Growing up, I never played sports in high school. So for me, I was just going to school, going home, and maybe playing video games. So I'm not gonna lie, I would say I was a super nerd and a super geek. And looking back on it, it just wasn't something that I wish I could have gone back in time and really changed how I was brought, as far as like, being more active in sports and stuff like that. But you live and you learn. I never really had parents, like I was saying, I never really had parents who really like cared about my health as far as like what I was eating. I was pretty much eating whatever I wanted growing up. A lot of junk food, Pop Tarts, Apple Jacks. I can't lie to you, I ate a lot of Apple Jacks. I can recall one point in time when I literally ate a whole box of Apple Jacks in one day, and I don't know how I did that. Looking back on it, there's no way. I can't even believe I'm alive today. I can't, to be honest with you. I feel like I should have had type 2 diabetes with all the junk food I was eating back in the day when I was super young. But as you guys can physically see, this is how I looked. Um, pretty late in my teens. This is how I was looking. Never really took sports serious, like I said. Never was put into any sports, and obviously I was never genetically gifted. So people say that only the genetically gifted can really get abs, can really have defined muscles. I never believed that. It all really comes down to putting in the work, honestly, at the end of the day. So I feel like one common misconception that people have about like, guys who are like super jacked, or like people who are in shape in general, is that they had to have like super crazy genetics. They had to have been in sports since they were 5 years old. I'm not gonna lie, that helps. That does help. Being in sports early on, you never really probably had an issue with losing weight, because you were probably always generally fit if you were always in sports growing up. So, but for me, I was never somebody who was good at sports. Never was somebody. My parents never really put me in sports. It was just about education and school. So they never really pushed sports on me. So I was always home eating. So never really had an excuse to lose any weight. So, and it wasn't until, like I said, recently when I really started looking at myself and saying, "Damn, you look like shit." It wasn't until recently when I looked at myself and realized that. So yeah, that was just a little backstory on me when it pertains to like, the health and fitness. I never really took that shit seriously. I also never knew anything about nutrition. Like I said, I mentioned that before. I was never really health conscious. I was eating whatever I wanted. I would say though, for me, when I started to become a little bit health conscious was back in May 2023. So this is how I looked back in May of 2023. I was over 350 pounds in this picture right here. This is how big I was. The biggest I ever recall weighing myself, I was around 315 pounds, believe it or not. So my overall fitness journey, I would say I've lost over 70 pounds, but I'll do a separate video. Once I get down to 215, I'll do a separate video on how I was able to transform and lose over 100 pounds. I'll break that down in a separate video, but for now, I'm gonna just go over like 8 main key points that helped me lose, the 50 pounds in these 5 months. But overall, like I was saying, back then, this is when I started to take my fitness journey. I don't want to say I took my fitness journey serious, But at this point is when I started to realize, okay, I need to do something about my look. About my look, that's when I took accountability and stopped blaming others to solve my problems. Because at the end of the day, I ate all those foods. So I know I mentioned earlier about my parents not helping me, not really like being health conscious with me. At the end of the day, yes, they're my parents, but realistically, it's not on them to it's not on them to help me get in the best shape of my life that I wanted to get into. It's not on them because at the end of the day, they have their own lives. I have my own lives. Ultimately, I control what I put in my mouth. I was well aware of the junk food I was eating. I wasn't aware that it was bad for me. I was just eating it because it was good at the time. So at this point, back in May of 2023, I would say I was able to fully grasp and really come to terms that I can't blame others for my problems. And around this time of May of 2023, which is about 2 years ago, was when I looked in the mirror and I had to really come to grips of what I looked like. Okay, so now I'm gonna go into the very first step and the very first key takeaway that I want you guys to also take away as well. That this also helped me when I really locked in on my journey as far as losing the 50 pounds within the last 4 to 5 months at the start of this new year. What I did was I reflected and I wanted to visualize what I wanted to look like. Because when people want to start their fitness journey, they have an idea of like, okay, I want to lose 100 pounds, I want to lose 50 pounds, but they don't like visualize who they want to look like. So I feel like because we're all human beings, so the best way to like identify and realize what you want to look like is to compare yourself to others. People may say that's not a good thing, but for me, I feel like it helped me in a way. So I feel like it could help I feel like it could help you as well. Anybody who's like super new to their fitness journey, or somebody who's also experienced and just like wants actual direction as far as like the physique they want to go for. So as you guys can see, these are 3 to 4 different physiques that people don't even know that they're trying to go for. So for me, I was always leaning for like the one in the middle, the DK Metcalf physique, the 225 to 29 physique. Um, but that's kind of where I'm at right now physically as far as weight wise. But I currently don't have any, like, I don't have that same amount of muscle mass. I'm currently realizing that I may need to be around like the low 220s or like the 215s to really see abs. I'm not trying to get super shredded like these guys in the middle. Like I said, it's really important to visualizing and conceptualize what kind of healthy physique you're looking for. If you're looking for like a super slim Cristiano Ronaldo physique, that's gonna take some work. Obviously, looking like the guys in the middle will take some work. Even some people want to look like the guy. I'm not sure who this guy is, but I know he's a power lifter. I just googled him and I saw him. So these are like the different spectrums. So my overall main takeaway is that you first have to identify what spectrum of physique you're aiming for. Because some people are looking to be like a power lifter over 400 pounds. They just want to be strong and muscular and have a lot of strength. But I feel like the majority of people want to be between the not the like super jack but slim, but like somebody wants to be within like a good body weight size and want to look between the DK Metcalfs to the Ronaldo physique. I think that's where most people want to aspire to be. So I feel like the very first step to really locking in and really losing the weight that helped me, and I feel like could definitely help you, is just visualizing somebody that I don't want to say that you look up to, but obviously you just tend to look up to them, but just visualizing somebody who has the physique you're looking for and you feel like it's attainable. So for me, like I said, both of these guys they're around my same height. They're around 6'2", 6'3". So by realizing this, I realized that for me to really get to the to get to the leanness that I was looking for, I would need to get to around like 220, 215 pounds to really look aesthetically pleasing. So that's something I came to terms with. So just overall, the first step is to realize and visualize the goal weight. Overall, that's what I would say. You have to just visualize and conceptualize what your goal weight is. So try to figure out who you look up to as far as physique wise. Try to see their physiques, see if their stats, and that should give you a gauge as far as like, okay, this is the weight I need to be to look similar to this guy. So that gives you a good target goal. So mainly, the main takeaway I would say is to have a target goal weight. And the best way for me to secure and really target my goal weight is to see people who looked better than me and do some research on their height and their weights, and just visualize, okay, this guy is pretty shredded and he's around 183 pounds. This guy in the middle's super shredded and 225 pounds, a lot of muscle. So overall, what I came to realize after doing my comparison between DK Metcalf and Ronaldo is that, okay, for me to really see my abs and really have some solid muscle definition and be overall considered healthy, I would need to at least be 225 to like be safe, which is what I'm at right now. Currently, I'm at 227 technically, but I know I probably need to get down a little bit more because I'm not super active like these guys, like DK Metcalf, so they can obviously put on more muscle. So for me, realistically, I'm thinking I need to be at like 205 to 210, and just be chilling at that weight. So I feel like that's what I need to be at. So I still have work to do, but this is what I currently use to visualize my goal weight, my goal target weight. So that's the very first thing I would say you guys would need to know how to do is just visualize and conceptualize the actual goal weight you're looking for based off physiques that you like to based off physiques that you like in general. I would say people may not agree, but this is what I do, and it worked for me. So I want to just share that with you. So now let's get into the second one. The second one. Now this is when things get real. Okay, so this is when you have to actually get a scale and record your weight. So especially if you're somebody who's never lifted and somebody who's really really big and wants to start the fitness journey, I'd recommend you get a scale. Obviously, you need a scale because you need to track your actual weight, and step on that scale. I know it's gonna be tough because for me, I'm not gonna lie, it was really really tough to step on that scale for the first time back when I was over 300 pounds, and I knew I was big, and it's maybe it's something that obviously if you're a bigger guy, you know this feeling. You're big. You don't want to actually see the number on the scale, but you know you're big. But you just got to do it, man. You got to get over that first hurdle. And that was one thing that helped me is just like really doing an honest self assessment on my stats and my overall evaluation. So for me, the best way to do that is to just, rip the band-aid off and step on that scale for the first time. And not only that, this is going to be crazy because I know one thing, stepping on a scale for some people is already a big deal. But you also need to take off your shirt if you're a guy or girl, obviously. Take off your shirt and just record yourself in the mirror. That will not like that will really open your eyes to what you really look like. So, because obviously you know what you look like walking around if you're really big, but just taking that shirt off and recording yourself and looking at your camera and your phone and seeing what you currently look like would definitely show you what you really look like. No filter, no nothing. It'll show you how you really look raw and unedited. And that'll be a good motivation because that was motivation for me. So having a recording of myself of how I originally looked would definitely help you really visualize and help you give you that extra motivation to really push through and really like lock in. For me, that helped me, so I feel like it could definitely help some of you. So, like I said, I recommend you guys get a scale and also use your camera and your phone to record yourself in the mirror shirtless to see where you're currently at. Because at this point, I feel like the way I see it is there's only one way to go. Yes, you're at a pretty not good spot, but there's only one way to go. You can only go up from here, which is losing the weight and getting in shape. And then also one thing I did, and I recommend you do, is to just take some time to sit down and jot down like 5 to 10 junk foods that you've been eating consciously or subconsciously. Just like list those 5 to 10 junk foods that you know for a fact is definitely making you bigger, overall making you more unhealthier. You know what these are. For me, it was simple. Goldfish snacks, Pop Tarts, Apple Jacks, what else? French toast sticks, those Eggo French toast sticks. Man, I can go on and on. I can list you like 100 things that was holding me back. But as far as junk foods, list those 5 things out. And I'm not gonna lie to you. Once you list those out, you would need to mentally get to a point to either cut them out completely, but I know that's kind of unrealistic for most people, but I would recommend cutting them out completely or minimizing them to at least eating them once a month. If they're super, super dire, I'd recommend try eating them once a month, but really try to cut them out completely because honestly, they're not helping you. You've eaten them for the most of your life, so I feel like you can go years without eating them now at this point. That's just how my mind work. I can't even tell you the last time I ate a Pop Tart. It's been years, and I still, like I said, I can still taste the last time I ate a Pop Tart. I still have that taste in my mouth from years ago. So I think I've eaten enough Pop Tart to last me a lifetime. So that's just kind of the mindset I have right now. But obviously that takes time for people to develop that mindset. But I would just say make a list of like 5 to 10 junk foods that you know is like really holding you back, and try to realize, okay, let me cut these out. Maybe, like I said, it doesn't have to be completely because some people cutting certain foods out completely is unrealistic, and maybe they don't see that ever happening for them. Which I guess I kind of understand. It takes baby steps, but overall, I would want to make a list of those 5 to 10 junk foods and cut them out completely. because you're gonna start making a meal plan now. Because once you realize that, okay, these are the foods that are holding me back, especially like these are the main 5 foods that are holding me back. I need to move forward in a new direction. And one thing for sure you need to cut out is soda. I'm not gonna lie, that is one thing you need to cut out completely. Either replace it with diet soda, or just drink like, maybe like, zero. Like, I'll go into that later. But soda is one thing I feel like you should just give up completely, because I don't see. I've never, like, I stopped drinking soda back when I was like 17. So even when I was still a super teenager, I know, because I realized this soda shit is like so much sugar. I was just nah. I cut out sugar way, way, way early. But one thing for sure that I need to guarantee is that you guys need a 100% cut off sugars from soda. Like, stop drinking soda. That should be the number one thing that should go off completely. Go cold turkey is what I would say. But I know for some people that is super, super hard. But that's one thing I would definitely say that needs to get done, is just make a list of some junk foods that you know is not going to help you. And then also, like I said, write down that goal weight. So I recommend getting a notepad, like a journal, a notebook, or on your phone is easy if you want to use your phone. Just making sure you write down your goal weight, because that's what I did when I was locking in on my fitness journey, especially towards, like I said, this major cut that I realized that I ended up doing from 270 all the way down to 223, 227. I wrote down that weight at the beginning of the new year, that I said, okay, I didn't set I didn't set a time frame for when I was gonna get to where I'm at now. I just told myself I need to get down to this weight. So let me actually lock in 2024, 2025, the start of this new year. Let me lock in on my fitness journey and really take this shit super seriously. Because like I said, I had started my journey back in 2023, but nothing was concrete until recently. So yeah, making sure you write down your goal weight so you know what your target is. That's really important. And lastly, get ready to be a chef, because the best thing to do at this point now, since you're gonna be trying to lose weight, you're going to have to learn how to cook. There's no way around this. You don't have to be a super chef. You don't have to be. You're not gonna be Gordon Ramsay. You're not gonna have to be Gordon Ramsay or anything like that, anything fancy. But you will need to cook at least 80 to 85 to 90% of your meals. That's the only way you could really see the best results, is by cooking your own food yourselves. So meal prepping on a weekend or whenever you have off time, that is the best time to do it. For me, that's what I currently do. For me, I meal prep on my off days when I'm not working out, or on a weekend. But you're gonna have to learn how to be able to cook food, and it's not gonna have to be complicated. Like I said, the food you're gonna make isn't gonna be complicated, but you're gonna have to learn how to meal prep your meals, because you need to be able to track everything as far as food. That's the only way to really lose weight and see results within 4 to 5 months. I would say is kind of a short time frame to lose 50 pounds. But so if that's something you want to do, you need to learn how to be, not like I said, not a super chef, but you need to learn how to cook, because you're gonna have to cook your own meals. Because at the end of the day, you need to be able to take control of your life. And the first step of taking control of your life and your health is literally by taking control of the food you eat. And the best way to do that is to just literally cook whatever you want to eat whatever you cook. And the best way to do that is to cook right in front of you. So just making sure that, yes, I'm going to have to be able to learn how to cook. Now, the next thing, you're going to need a proper detailed diet and plan structure, like I mentioned. So the first thing to do is, when you want to really take this fitness journey serious and lose weight, you're going to actually have to be in a calorie deficit. So I know you guys probably heard that a million times, but there's literally no other way around it. You have to be in a calorie deficit. So as you know, your body has energy in it. Your body stores energy. The only way, and that energy is mainly fat. So if you have a bigger gut, like you saw for me, I had a big gut. So that means for me, I had a lot of energy stored in my body just sitting there. So the only way to lose that body fat and trim up the body is for that excess energy to be released. And the only way for that energy to be released is to be in a calorie deficit. And a calorie deficit, all it means is that the food you're eating is minimal. So your body can end up burning energy from its body instead of using the food you're inhaling as energy. So basically, that's all it means. You need to be in a calorie deficit. So for me, as you guys can see, this is how I was able to find my target calories for me. For me, I'm currently eating around 23 to 2400 calories, so it's a little bit less. But this is how I started it out. Literally, I put in my age, what I weighed back then, my height, and I put this at sedentary because I wasn't doing that much activities. And for me to maintain the current weight I was at, I would need to be eating this. So this all this means is 2741 means that if I ate this every single day, I would stay 270. And now for me to lose this weight, I would need to drop the calories. So for me to drop the calories, I would need to be around 2,500 calories to start losing body fat. So that was how I was doing it. For the majority of my cut, for like 2-3 months, I was eating around 2,400 calories, 2,400, 2,500 calories. And that in and of itself dropped me down tremendously. Obviously, I was exercising. Obviously I was exercising as well. But for me, simply dropping down my calories was the bulk and majority of me losing weight. So like I said, you need to first and foremost find out what your TDE is. You need to understand your total daily energy expenditure. That's all that means. Is that all the energy that you need for you to keep your current body weight. And then once you figure out what that is, subtract about 300 to 500 calories to start out. And for me, like I said, I was around, for me, my TDEE back then was around 2,800 calories. And now for me to lose that weight, I would need to be eating way under that 2,800 calories. So for me, I was eating around 2,400 calories, like I was saying. Me currently, I'm eating like 2,200, 2,300 calories. So that was me currently. So so if you guys visualize me just dropping 400 calories, helped me get to where I'm at now at 227 pounds. So now for me, and the current weight I'm at, the current rate that I'm going, I should be able to reach my goal. I may need to drop my calories down, maybe to 2,200, maybe 2,100 calories, which I already mentally prepared for. But for me, I know that the number one key thing is to always make sure you're on point with your diet and fully understanding how much calories you need to be inhaling in your body every single day. So like I said, you need to understand your overall total daily energy expenditure. You can use a calculator, figure that out. And once you figure that out, just subtract 500 from that. Easily. That'll automatically get you to where you need to be as far as like, losing weight consistently. And two things you need to invest in. Well, not really invest in this. The second one isn't really an investment. It's usually free. But the first thing you need to invest in is the food scale. Because like I said in my second point, you will be your own chef. And to be your own chef, you need to track your foods. So yes, a lot of people may think this is crazy, but no, this is what you need to do. Because there's no way to actually tell how much energy you're eating if you can't track that energy. You need to be tracking literally every single energy you're eating. So that's why you need a food scale, because when you're weighing your foods out, that's how you're going to be able to tell how much calories you're eating. So let's say you're weighing out a chicken breast. Eyeballing it isn't going to give you the most 100% accurate data as far as how much energy is in that chicken breast. So that's why you need to weigh that chicken breast to really give you an understanding as far as like how much energy is in this one chicken breast that you're about to eat. And for me, I would do this all on a Saturday. So like I said, I would cook all my food up, cook all my meats, cook all my rice, the carbs, put it to the side, put a plate, put my meal prep containers, and just start weighing everything out and just putting it to the side, weighing a certain amount, putting it to the side. That's actually the best way to do it. So instead of like, every single day weighing some foods out, literally meal prepping and weighing out each and every one of your meals in a container and putting it in the freezer, that'll save you so much time in the long run. And it's just a no-brainer. It's just like easy. That's just what works for me. So making sure you invest in food scale, because you're going to have to be able to weigh all your foods that you're cooking. Because without that, it will be really, really hard to lose weight. I'm not going to lie. There's literally no other way. I tried everything else. I've tried just like, intermittent fasting. I've tried doing a lot of different things, but nothing worked as effectively as literally just tracking your foods and weighing them out. And you by you doing this, you'll actually be surprised as far as like how much food you could get away with eating, especially if it's leaner meats like 96-93% ground beef, chicken, skinless chicken breast. You'll be surprised of how much you can actually eat, even though you're in a caloric deficit. You'll be surprised of how much like actual whole foods you could eat in a meal, because you're weighing it out. You know the calories, and overall whole foods tend to be lesser calories than obviously fried processed food. So, but just making sure you have a nice structure is important. So, like I said, this goes into my next point of having a nice structured, balanced meal plan. I would say at least minimum, what I did was I would eat at least 3 meals a day. Right now, I'm eating 4 meals a day. But overall, it was non-negotiable to eat at least 3 meals a day. So before then, When I was first starting my fitness journey, I was doing intermittent fasting. I would skip breakfast, eat a snack for lunch, and then eat a big ass dinner. Or I would eat I would skip breakfast, eat a big lunch, eat a couple of fruits for dinner. Um, for me, that didn't that never worked because it was, for one, unsustainable, and for me, I wasn't able to track everything I was doing as far as foods I was eating. So because I was eating so much food at one time, I never tracked it. So let's say it came time for lunch, my only big meal, I would literally pack a whole bunch of chicken, pack a whole bunch of rice, and it was a lot. It was a lot of food. Then I pack some chips, some protein chips, some protein drinks. I would pack a whole bunch of things, thinking that this was, what I would tell myself was that, okay, this has got to be healthy because this is a whole bunch of healthy stuff. But ultimately, yes, it's healthy, but if it's still over your calorie limit, that doesn't matter. Your body doesn't process anything. Like your body will not process you eating. Let's say your body won't process you eating 2,800 calories of grilled chicken versus 2,800 calories of fried chicken. Let's put it that way. So back then, when my overall TDEE was 2,800, I feel like I was eating around maintenance, even though I was still intermittent fasting. So that's one thing you need to know, is how to have a structured meal plan. And the only way to have a structured meal plan is to actually weigh out your food so you know what you're eating for each and every meal calorie wise. So please don't be the one doing intermittent fasting, because I'm not gonna lie to you, it does not work. Especially for somebody who's trying to lose weight and still have some size and muscle to them. So if you're just strictly trying to lose, like, body fat while keeping some muscle, you will need to eat at least 3 meals a day. That's something that's almost non-negotiable. I can't lie to you. And another thing is to make sure you eat enough protein and carbs. Going back to my last point about wanting to at least maintain some muscles. If any of you want to at least, if any of you guys want to at least maintain some muscle and not look like a super skinny person with a big ass stomach, because if you don't eat proteins at all and skip protein and carbs, you will not look the best. Because that was me at one point. I will try to share a screenshot of what I looked like when I was starting to do that. You'll see my face got leaner, but I still had a gut. So you'll just realize that you're just losing a lot of water weight. Because your body would just start like holding on to anything. So that's why it's really, really important to at least eat some protein and carbs. For me right now, I'm eating around like 200 grams of protein, around 150 to 200 grams of carbs. So they're both around the same for me, and that's sustainable for me. So overall, you need a meal plan that's sustainable. And for that to be sustainable, you need to be eating foods that you enjoy eating, for one, and just overall making sure you structure it out properly and getting enough proteins. That's really important. And what's most important, more than anything, is just fully understanding this concept that you will never, ever, ever, ever outtrain a bad diet. It's just not possible. I will go into a whole nother video breakdown of how I originally started my fitness journey. What I've come to realize is that if you have two people, one person is super structured with their diet, but let's say he works out once or twice a week, versus another person who works out 7 days a week, but is super crappy on their diet. After 1 year, the guy who's super structured on his diet but only works out once or twice a week, he will look significantly better than the guy who's working out 7 days straight but eating like shit. That's one thing I realized, and once I realized that, that shifted my whole mindset as far as like where I need to be designating my efforts as far as fitness goals and like really locking in on my fitness journey. So I hope you can take away something about. I hope you as well can take away the importance of diet, because you can never ever outtrain a bad diet. If you really wanted to lose weight and you're super lazy and didn't want to go to the gym, you could lose weight by eating a certain amount of calories, but still getting a decent amount of protein, but obviously making sure you're in a calorie deficit. You can lose significantly more weight doing that than going to the gym every day and just eating a bunch of shit every day. It just won't happen as far as like seeing the results. So making sure you have a good structured, detailed diet is really important, man. And like I said, back this just trickles down to my third point. I know, and this may be repetitive, but I don't think it is. But overall, just like this should just go to show you the importance of having a really good diet and nutrition. So an actual cheat code. I may have mentioned it earlier, but I'm gonna say it again. An actual cheat code to losing weight is literally eating the same shit every single day. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Now I know some people that may turn them off and be like, oh no, there's no way I can do that. I'm telling you, if you do this for 2 weeks, you 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 will see significant. Like if you're super big and do this for 2 weeks, I can't. Let's say if you're like 300 pounds and you eat whole foods, you weigh them out, you're eating at a calorie deficit for 2 weeks, you will lose. I feel like you lose 30 pounds in those 2 weeks. That's how if you eat for 14 days straight, that's how significant and powerful eating the same things are as far as like weight loss goals go. And for me, the key is also eating foods that you like. So as you guys can see in this picture, these are all foods that I enjoy eating. So people think that eating the same shit over and over again is like monotonous, is boring, it gets tiring, it gets disgusting at some point. Absolutely not. If you're eating this, like if you're eating foods that you enjoy eating, this shit is it doesn't feel like you're eating the same shit over. I mean, it does if you think about it, but when you're actually eating it and when you're hungry, you can eat anything low key. But when you're eating something, when you're eating the same thing and it's good, well seasoned, and it's prepped well, trust me, it doesn't seem as bad as people make it out to seem. Because ultimately, what I've come to realize, the only people who have issues with eating the same shit every single day are people who are already big and fat and just because obviously if you're big and fat, you're eating a whole bunch of varieties of foods, and that's the issue. You're eating so many different things and it's going to your body. No, you need to lock in on the whole foods and making sure you lock in on those foods and eating those shits every day. Even when I'm done my diet, even when I'm done my cutting phase and I go into like a lean bulking phase, I'll still be eating the same shit, just bigger portions. Cause I've just come to love ground beef, chicken. I ain't gonna lie though, I may have fried chicken once or twice a month, but for the most part, 80% of my time, I'll be eating the same things you see in this picture. So for me, these are some of the foods that I was eating during my major fat loss phase: ground beef, rice, broccoli, some chicken right here, eggs in the morning. I always had eggs and bread in the morning. And then for a snack, if I was hungry for like a protein snack or wanted something quick, I would have a Fit Crunch protein bar. If you guys don't know about Fit Crunch, I personally like them. They're my favorite protein bars as far as taste wise. Quest is okay, but if there's one protein bar I could eat once a day for the rest of my life, it'd be Quest. So making sure you're eating the same foods. Obviously, you can switch out the carbs. So like maybe if you wanted to switch out the ground beef for potato, maybe if you want to switch like the ground beef from rice with ground beef and potatoes, you could do that. But just overall, making sure you stick to like the main core like meal structure is really important. And what I mean by flip flop is by eating so much different foods you can't track it. So eating like a grilled chicken sandwich one day, yes, it's healthy, and then switching it up at dinner, eating rice and chicken. Because like I said, you're gonna be cooking all this food yourself. So the main reason why I'm even saying it's important to not flip flop your meal structure is because since you should be prepping all your meals yourself. Because this is what I did. Since I was prepping all my meals myself, I wanted to make it as easy as possible to get good nutritious food in, get it in within a reasonable time, not spend hours in the kitchen cooking so many different types of meals, basically having a whole Thanksgiving feast every Saturday, cooking up a whole Thanksgiving feast on Saturdays. That's not what I wanted to do. So making sure you're not flip flopping your meal structure definitely it just helps you ultimately. So making sure you eat the same proteins as far as like lunch and dinner. If it's chicken for lunch, beef for dinner, salmon for lunch, fish for lunch, or something for dinner, something else for dinner. Just making sure you stick to a structure like that. And the carbs you can always flip flop carbs because for the most part it doesn't take too long to cook rice or cook potatoes. So that isn't the main issue. The main thing is obviously the protein that takes the most time to cook. So not just making sure you have a good meal structure helps you a lot because that's what helped me a lot. And like I said, keeping the staple foods simple and consistent. So the staple foods I would consider are the meats and the proteins. Pause. So the proteins, the chickens, the eggs, the beefs, the salmon, all those stuff you need to be keeping those staples simple and consistent. Pick 2 to 3. Let me be real. What I did was I picked two things: chicken, ground regular chicken breast, and ground beef. Those two things I would spam for lunch and dinner, and I'm currently doing that right now. I'm spamming those things right now. Lunch and dinner, eating those same things with rice as the carbs for lunch, and baked potatoes as the carbs for dinner. So making sure you're being consistent. It's all ultimately what you're gonna notice is that the key to fitness and really like seeing results is just consistency. Like anything in life can be achieved with consistency. That's one thing I've come to realize. So yeah, making sure you lock that down. And like I said, I mentioned it before, but I'll mention it again just so you guys know. There is no such thing as a diet hack that works. Because what I because the why I say that is because a hack, the term diet hack is like it's supposed to be used as a term as like a shortcut. When people say, "Oh, this is a diet hack," they're trying to say this is a shortcut to get you from here to here. No, it's not. It's not. So like an intermittent fasting diet hack, all it really is just trying to be in a calorie deficit. So like I said, if you really look at what an intermittent fasting is, it's just eating less. But people don't stick to intermittent fasting because they're starving themselves, then they'll binge eat in the afternoon, and then they may overeat without even knowing it. So just overall diet hacks, when I mean they don't work, and what I mean by there's no such thing is that the actual terminology for what a diet hack is used for is not it's not really what it seems to be. All a diet hack is trying to make it seem like is like I said is that there's some shortcut to get to where you need to be as far as weight loss goes. There's no way you can like finagle the work. You have to put in the work and consistency. There's no way around it. There's literally only one way as far as like diverse and like as fluid as people may try to make it seem. It's what I've come to realize throughout my journey is that it is literally just being consistent, eating the same shit and tracking your food. That is the only way to really lose weight and working out. So there's no other way around it. So just making sure you fully understand that there's no such thing as a diet hack. Another key thing that I was doing throughout my fitness journey was just making more conscious, well-aware health decisions. So for me, like I said, I mentioned earlier in the video to cut out soda. So when I mean cut out soda, I mean cut it out completely. But if you're craving something sweet, try to replace it with something healthier. Like for me, I never knew that there was such thing as a zero sugar Snapple. Because if you guys notice, there's only 10 calories in one bottle of this zero sugar Snapple, and a regular Snapple apple was like it's like 100 calories, 120 calories. And for me, I love when I was fat, I would drink this religiously. Snapples, I didn't drink sodas. In regular Gatorades, I would drink these two. I would drink these two to supplement the fact that I wasn't drinking soda. Come to find out that they're still all bad. Just drinking a whole bunch of regular Snapple, drinking a whole bunch of regular Gatorade has a lot of calories, and those add up too. So for me, what I did was, and what I'm currently doing, is instead of cutting out certain foods forever, I would just make healthier, more conscious food choices. So when I'm going to the grocery store and I'm shopping for drinks, and I know I can't drink because I don't drink apple juice either. Because if you look at apple juice, they have a lot of calories too. But like I said, you don't have to cut those out completely because drinking apple juice once a week isn't gonna kill you, but soda will. I firmly believe soda will kill you if you drink that once a week. But anyway, I digress. But for me, like I said, I was drinking. Maybe you could drink. You know how crazy this is. You could drink this is a pack of six. You could drink this whole pack of six Snapple zero sugar in one sitting, and you still would be less than one whole regular bottle of Snapple. Um, so that's one thing I realized that you could actually get away with eating more shit if you pick the healthier option. So making sure you're just making better, healthier drink options because I know people like to drink juices and stuff like that. I was a victim of that. So just making sure you're being well aware and being more conscious of certain foods you're picking out. So like I said, drinking zero sugar Coke, drinking some zero sugar Snapple and some zero sugar Gatorade. Anything zero sugar will obviously be anything zero sugar is obviously going to be better for you in the long run. So that's something I was doing, and what I'm currently doing is drinking like I drink like two bottles of the zero sugar Snapples every single day, and nothing crazy has happened. So it's helping me out. So definitely recommend just picking out better, healthier options as far as drink goes. And also when you go out drink and when you go out eating, so if you go out like certain occasions, going out to eat, if it's like a regular thing for you, just making sure you pick healthier options on the food menu. For me though, I'm not gonna lie, since I started locking in my fitness journey, I can only count maybe like between January till now, which is like 6 months. I can count on my one hand the amount of times I went out and like went out to a restaurant and just went out in general. Because for me, I'm just like so paranoid. Because if I don't know what I'm eating, you'll get to this point. It's gonna be psychotic in a good way. You're gonna get to a point where like eating out is almost like scary because you don't know 100% how many calories you're actually gonna be eating at that sitting. Yeah, some main fast food chains, some main big restaurants, you'll be able to track it on MyFitnessPal in a way, but you can't 100% be sure because you never know if that day the server put more oil or put more whatever. But either way, just making sure you pick healthier options when you go out to eat is really important. So instead of getting the fried chicken sandwich, switching out for a grilled chicken sandwich, it's always better and helpful. So just making sure you just pick the healthier food option. That's what I did, and something that I definitely recommend you do as well if you really want to take your fitness journey serious and lose that weight that you want to lose. Sorry, I need that water. Now the next thing you need to do is lift weights. So for me, I'm lifting. I'm currently lifting 6 days a week. I'm doing 3 days on, 1 day off, 3 days on, 1 day off. So that's what I'm doing right now. But for me, the majority of my weight loss, I was working out 5 days a week. So this is my split. This was my split: push, pull, legs, rest, upper, lower. It's still kind of the same now. I'm still doing the same thing now. I'm just doing push, pull, legs, rest, push, pull, legs. But make sure you lift weights because that's really important. Because you want to have some size and like some actual muscle size, some muscle tone definition. I feel like that's what most people want. Most guys and girls, they don't want to just look skinny and anorexic. They want to look fit, slim, and healthy. And the only way to do that is to actually lift weights. And the energy that you have from that calorie deficit, you want to use that energy and protein for the muscle that you're going to try to build. So what I was doing is I was making sure I was lifting 5 days a week, making sure I was lifting with good form. So I know a lot of people say progressive overload. I'm doing that now. That's what I'm doing now. But for the majority of my time, from January, February till literally the start of the month of July, I was lifting. I wouldn't say super heavy, but I was lifting strong enough to do really good form, and I was just spamming that. So I would. It wasn't anything crazy. So making sure you lift with good form is really important, especially early on. I would say more than anything, as a beginner lifter, making sure you have good proper form is really important because that only builds on through time. You know, building the strength. Another thing I did, which is something I really want to drive this point home to you guys, is do not exceed over 1 hour and 40 minutes in the gym. I cannot stress that enough because if you exceed 1 hour and 40 minutes in the gym, it's just diminishing. I don't want to say diminishing returns, but it's unnecessary. Let's just put it that way. Because I was working out in the gym for 3 hours, and that shit would kill me. Because at the end of the day, like I mentioned, consistency is going to be the number one key throughout this whole entire fitness journey. Is being consistent, and the only way to be consistent is by making sure you're working out, doing your workouts, and leaving the gym. Not doing too much in the gym. Because what I was doing at one point, and like I said, I'll break this down in a separate video. But I was working out for 3 hours and 3 hours minimum, and I can tell you how I got 3 hours. Every time I got into the gym, this was like during the starting phase of my fitness journey. I would go on the treadmill and jog and do my thing on the chair for 1 hour. So boom, hour gone. Every single time I was at the gym. Then after that 1 hour, then I would hit weights for like an hour and a half, take some rest, and that will add up. So for me, the bulk of it was obviously in the cardio, doing an hour of cardio, and my weights. I was doing a lot of weights. I was doing a lot of different weights, doing a lot of supersets and different shit. I was doing like 10 exercises a day. So I was doing like 10 exercises per lifting session. So for like a push day, I was doing I was doing a lot of shit. So, and I just come to realize, for one, it's not sustainable. So for me, I would almost cry. Now, obviously, I wouldn't cry physically, but I was like in my head so much every day. Once I got home, telling myself, "Oh my gosh, I have to do this again tomorrow, and then tomorrow, and then and I'm telling you, please take this from me. If there's like one or two things you can take away from this video, this is one of them. Please do not exceed 1 hour and 40 minutes in the gym. 10 minutes of walking cardio before you work out, 10-15 minutes after you work out, but the bulk of your time in the gym should be lifting weights, because that's what the gym is built for, lifting weights. If you wanted to really walk and get those steps in, you can do that at home anytime, any day. But when you go to the gym, I would recommend you use it what it's utilized for, which is lifting weights. And I recommend no more than 6 to 8 exercises per lifting session. That includes if you want to add a superset. So for me, what I'm doing right now, I'm doing 7 different lifts on a given muscle group workout day, and I'm sticking to that. That includes my superset. I only have maybe one superset in my workout every single time. But either way, I'm not exceeding more than 8 different exercises per day. And like I said, walking 10 minutes before you work out, walking 10 minutes after you work out at a 2.6 incline, 7 to 10, at a 2.6 speed, 7 to 10 incline. That's what I was doing. That's what I'm currently doing still to help me lose that extra fat. But ultimately, guys, I just don't recommend you guys staying in the gym for 3 hours, because if any of you guys ever done that, you know the next day your knees will be burning because of all that tension you're putting on your knees, especially if you're running. Because what I was doing a lot of interval cardio. So I was walking, running, walking, running, doing all that for an hour before hitting weights, even on leg days. So imagine doing all that running and then doing legs. I don't know how I did it, but it was not sustainable. And ultimately, I didn't really see the results from it, because what I ended up doing subconsciously was just eating more food, because I was just so tired and so exhausted. I would just snack on certain shit. So making sure you just keep keeping your workouts at an hour and 40, and the only way to make sure you hit that hour and 40-minute mark is to, one, time your actual workouts, and to also actually have a structured workout routine. So whenever you go to the gym, you know exactly what machines you're going to be hitting, what lifts you're going to be doing. Because if you just go to the gym willy nilly, obviously you can spend an hour just figuring out what machines you want to hit. So every single time I go to the gym, I know exactly what machine I'm going to go to. I even know, I'm so crazy with it, I know what time that a certain machine opens up for me. So for me, when I get off work around 4:35, I know at like 5:20 to 5:30, the bench press is open. That's the first thing I hit. Well, obviously I warm up, but I'm making sure I put my bags and everything by the bench that's available, because I know the bench press is usually available around 5:30. So see, that's how crazy it gets. So once you get into it, you'll see the same thing. But making sure you time your workouts and just having a structured workout is really important. And like I mentioned before, this is important, but not as important as 1 through 5. But making sure you walk, you get some steps in. For me, what I did was I made sure I got 8 to 10k steps per day, and I was doing this subconsciously, because for me, luckily I work a pretty active job at construction, so I'm able to get these steps. I'm able to get like at least 4,000 steps in from my job itself, and then if you walk, if you actually walk on a treadmill 10 minutes before you work out, and then 10 minutes after you work out at a 2.7 speed, at a 7 to 10% incline, you should be able to have at least 4,000 steps. I know, because I have a watch. Even though the watch isn't 100% accurate, but I just know, based on like how long I've been doing it, that yes, if you walk 10 to 15 minutes before you work out, and then walk 10 to 15 minutes after your workout is done to just cool down a little bit, that should log you at least 4,000 steps right there. So for me, that's how I was easily able to get 8 to 10k steps. And it's important to, like, especially starting out, is to like not try to like chase the steps. Like, obviously if you want to do it, you can do it, but for me, just doing it subconsciously was easier. So making sure you get that in, and making sure you drink enough water. So making sure you drink at least four to six of these a day is important. Speaking of water, I'm not gonna lie, if you're a guy, you're drinking this, you may be pissing a lot, but it's important. So I was told it's important to drink your water, and so I'm gonna tell you guys the same thing too. Making sure you drink at least 4 to 8 of these a day is important. Yep, mention that. And then another thing I would say is having strong willpower. So now for me, this is something I realized, especially in the middle of my fitness journey. So I would say around we're in July. So I would say definitely around 4th of July, I've been tempted recently, but just overall, if you really lock in on your fitness journey, you're gonna realize how strong of a willpower you're gonna need, and at a certain point, it'll become part of you. So yeah, it's gonna be a strong willpower, But then you'll start to realize that, yeah, this is what's best for me. So for me, as you guys can see in the picture, I come from an African family, so my parents like to cook a lot of African food, and for the most part, they're super delicious, but it's not the super best and super healthiest for me. So for me, this plate right here, you guys can see, which is jollof rice, chicken, and fried plantain. I'm not gonna lie to you guys, I could eat this meal every single day, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, for the rest of my life. But I know in the back of my mind, I will literally die in 2 years if I ate this meal every single day for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. I would be diabetic and just go go out. So I know that. So for me, when my parents are cooking some foods, I have to say no. When my friends want to go out and drink and want to go party, I have to say no. I'm not even much of a drinker, um, but I just know that drinking isn't good for my body, so I just say no completely, because it's just not something that I want to do, and I'm so locked in on my goals that I feel like it'll take away from it. Even if it might, even if one drink, even if I go out for one drink, which isn't too bad, I just know that I just know that it won't be the most optimal for me. So I want you guys to really take that away. Is to have You're gonna have to develop a strong willpower. So that's the main thing I want to tell you guys, is that throughout your fitness journey, you will have to develop a strong willpower to say no to things, no to friends, no to your family, and when I mean no, like, I don't mean no in like something crazy like they'll tell you to do something, you say no. I mean just saying no to like certain shit you know isn't good for your body and good for your fitness goals. So like I said, mainly certain foods I have to say no to. Drinking and going out, I have to say no to that because I would stay out late, come home tired, wouldn't want to go to the gym the next day. So just overall, you will have to develop a strong willpower. I will say that. Also, lastly, I would say that willpower and going to the gym is also going to be something you're gonna have to develop, because there will be days, especially starting out in your fitness journey, where you will not want to go to the gym. Even me to this day, there are days where I don't want to go to the gym, but to me it's just like subconscious. So I even though I'm telling myself I don't want to go to the gym, I'm still driving to the gym. So like my body and my mind is telling me, you don't have to work out today, you don't have to work out today, but I'm still driving to the gym. So subconsciously I'm driving to the gym even though I do not want to go, but I know if I go I'll become better, and I'll become stronger, and I'll be reaching, and I'll be one step closer to my goal. So that's why I go to the gym, because I'm not gonna lie, motivation will fade. It will fade. You will be unmotivated to go to the gym at some points, and when you don't have motivation, all you will have is your mental, and that mental for me came from my strong willpower. So that'll be important to develop throughout your fitness journey. And lastly, I purposely kept this at last, but honestly, you most people could go without this. But for me, what I was doing is I had only one cheat meal a month, and I made sure it was the third month. It was the third week of every month on a Saturday. So honestly, though, this is not something that I recommend. I would personally recommend to somebody. If I was to coach somebody into fitness, I'm not gonna lie, you would not get a cheat month for the first 3 months if I was to help trade if I was trading somebody. But for me, what I was doing was, after I reached a certain weight. So let's say I got to 250 by the second week. By the third week, on a Friday, if I weighed myself and I was like 248, if I was 2 to 3 pounds less than what I was the week before, then I would have a cheat meal, just a meal. I would never make sure it turned into a whole cheat day. It was just one meal. So if I was craving Five Guys, I would get a Five Guys burger and fries. If I was craving some pizza, I'm not gonna lie though, I haven't been craving pizza as much as I used to. Um, Maybe just a part of the fitness journey for me, but I would eat pizza once in a while. I usually go to Sam's Club or Costco Pizza, get that. I don't eat like I stopped eating Domino's pizza because it doesn't taste the same to me anymore. So Domino's, Papa John's, I don't eat that type of pizza anymore. So that could be an effect of being more self conscious of your health. But for me, what I was doing was eating one cheat meal a month, because ultimately, I would not even say that this is necessary. Like I said, this is not something you need to do, but I'm just sharing with you guys what I did on my fitness journey to get to where I'm at right now. And I'm not gonna lie, this could have been what held me back a few weeks. I could have got to 227 where I'm at right now probably sooner if I cut out cheat meals completely. But honestly, we're human, so I'm not gonna lie to you. I did have cheat meals once a month. Made sure it was just a meal. So making sure I never exceeded that, and I was making sure I hit the gym that day. So I was making sure I hit the gym so I could subconsciously tell myself, okay, if I'm hitting the gym, I can eat this meal because I worked out that day. But these are some of the things I was doing to help me lose weight. Um, as far as like losing the 40, 50 pounds in a month in those 4 to 5 months. So these are just some key takeaways that I would want to share with you guys. So before I end this video, I want to just give you guys a few words of advice that stuck with me throughout my fitness journey, and I want to share that with you. So the number one thing is that it only takes 21 days to form a new habit. This specific quote, I literally tested it out on myself because I was like, does it really take only 21 days to form a new habit? So literally when I started locking in on my fitness journey, which was in February, I literally made a mark, and like I had a calendar on my wall, and I said, okay, I'm gonna hit the gym. I'm gonna make sure I hit my gym sessions every day that I'm supposed to, making sure I eat my correct foods every day, and obviously no cheat meals throughout this time. Through the start of my journey, I didn't have cheat meals. Right now, no cheat meals. But anyways, I digress. But anyway, I was saying I was testing out if this statement is true. So for the first 21 days, I was locked in, and then after the 21 days, I'm not gonna lie, it's 100% facts. I was still locked in, so I fully 100% believe that it takes only 21 days to build a new habit. So why I think it's key that it's 21 days is because it's more than 2 weeks. So 21 days is like 2.5, 3 weeks, which is perfect because I feel like anybody can lock in for 2 weeks. Anybody in this world can lock in for 2 weeks. But usually people start to taper off on that third week. So that's why, looking back on this statement, this is 100%. This is 100% facts. Most people will quit after this. Most people quit after the first week. Not then the rest will quit after the second week. Third week, that's when you can really determine if you're really gonna be able to stick through this shit. So that's one statement that stuck with me. So I hope it sticks with you. That it only takes 21 days to form a new habit. And lastly, shout out to The Rock. He says, success isn't always about greatness. It's about consistency. Consistent hard work leads to success. Greatness will come. So in a nutshell, he's just saying being consistent will outwork and outsurpass anything in this life. Anything you want in this life, what I've come to realize, it only takes consistency. Whatever it is, business, fitness, school, all it takes is being consistent. And what I've come to realize, a lot of people aren't patient. They don't have the right guidance or structure, or just have the realization of how important consistency is. And I was victim of that. I was victim of that as well. Not always being consistent. But I just wanted to share with you guys the importance of being consistent. As far as this fitness journey and what I've come to realize, and what I'm still realizing, is that being consistent is so crucial. That is the number one thing that will help you transform your body and just have a better physique. It's just being consistent, because there will be days where you look in the mirror and you may not see the abs, or you may not see what you think you want to see. That's how I feel. Like, that's how I felt. I'm not gonna lie, that's how I felt at the beginning of the month. I was like, okay, I lost this weight, but I still, I feel like I still could do more. I feel like I can still do more. Maybe that's a little bit of body dysmorphia, but it is what it is. But for me, I know that if I'm consistent, I will never ever not see what I want to see. I will never not get the results I want if I'm consistent. So I want to just share that with you guys, and hopefully you guys took away something from this video.